Hey guys, welcome back to Top Speed Golf. I'm Robin Rosado, and today I got a great video for you to help you hit your irons solid. So let's go and get started. All right, so if you're joining us from YouTube, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel so you can always get notified when we're releasing new content. All right guys, hitting your irons solid. Well, let's go and first take a look at the most common thing that I see when people are really struggling at hitting their irons, or really anything for that matter. And the most common thing we see in golf is that people are going to come into it flipping the golf club. So that's when this club head is now beating my hands. You know, I think I talked to a lot of people, and the reason why they do that is because they see all these tour players or guys on the range hit it really high. So by us flipping at it does create more loft in the golf club. But the reason why you're struggling hitting it solid, so maybe it's chunk or thin, maybe every once in a while you hit it pretty good, it's all on timing. Because if you're flipping at it, whether it's too early, maybe you're hitting the ground beforehand, or if it's too, again, probably too early, then you're catching too thin. So there's a lot of compensation going on when we're flipping at the golf ball. So our goal here today is to create more shaft lane and impact. So that's when the hands are leading the club head and we're compressing the ball pretty good. But I'm going to talk about two things. The first one being what's happening with our lower body, and the second one being what's actually happening with our hands at impact to help us get this nice shaft lean at impact and compress the ball and hopefully have you hit the ball more solid. All right, so the reason why we want to talk about our lower body is because it's important to get our lower body out of the way. That's one thing I want you to remember. Because if my hip stays square at impact and all this speed is coming down my hands and the club head, and my hip stays square, my hands and club head are going to want to pass my body. So either if I say to you, let's create more shaft lane, or you're feeling that, well, there's a good chance you're going to hit it way out there to the right and not all that great if my hips are square. So then what you're going to do is they stay square, the club head's now going to come in passing those hands, and then you're flipping at it to try to hit it solid or maybe try to hit it high. So you've always heard the term, oh, keep your hips up on that wall. You want to get into your posture, imagine a wall behind you here, and you want to keep your hips up on there. Well, that's not wrong, but I'm going to tell you something that I'm sure you've heard a ton of, but we want to keep our hips individual. So when you imagine that wall behind you, you want to take your right hip and place it on that wall, and now left hip and place it on that wall. The reason why we think individual hips is because it gets us moving easier and rotating better, especially with our hips, and getting these hips out of the way. So the drill I actually want you to focus on, I want you to grab an alignment stick, set up to the golf ball like you normally do, and place the alignment stick right on the back, your back front foot heel, and you should feel pressure onto your front hip here. So I feel it on my left back pocket here. So when I'm rotating back, my right hip would be hitting that wall behind me, but on the way down, I want to feel like my left back pocket is pushing this alignment stick back, not just keeping it there. I want you to feel like you're pushing that alignment stick backwards. And when you're rotating open, now we want to feel like this lead hip is actually going higher than my trail hip, and especially at impact. On average, our lead hip is about 20 degrees higher than would be my right hip at impact. So as you're coming down, go ahead and crush that alignment stick away from you, or crush that wall behind you, and that left back pocket and your left hip is opening way up. So now you're setting yourself up to having free hands at impact, so then you can create a ton of shaft lane. So go ahead and do, without even hitting the ball, go ahead and do about 50 just practice swings, just feeling this left back pocket, crush that wall behind you, press up against that alignment stick, so then you're creating new muscle memory easy that way. All right, so we just got our hips out of the way. Now it's going to make it really easy for us to create some shaft lane with our arms and our hands. So this drill, which is my favorite drill, I saw Brooks Koepka using it, you know, one time or a few times, and obviously it's done really well for me. He just won the US Open. So what we're going to talk about here is low hands. When we're flipping at it, what I see a ton of, if you look here from the down the line angle, you notice my hands get pretty high. This would be high, this would be low. So we're flipping at it, hands are coming in really high. The feeling I want you to have is the hands are coming in low into impact. You notice here that I'm able to still store up a decent amount of lag coming into that golf ball. And then obviously, you know, we release it coming into impact. So how do we do that? How do we get these lower hands? Well, you're gonna set up to like you normally do. And I want you to place an alignment stick. You're gonna be about a foot outside of this ball you're hitting here and just in line with my back foot. And I'm gonna place this about a 45-degree angle into the turf as best as I could. You'll notice if I come down in the impact, if I flip at it, you can see where the club is gonna hit this alignment stick. And if I come in with low hands below this alignment stick, you're gonna see that I'm still able to maintain my lag and the golf ball, and then when I release it, I have a decent amount of shaft weight and impact. So low hands, as you're coming down into impact, I want you to get the feeling of your right hand. We call this extension in the right hand. So when we're coming down, I want you to feel like the right hand is petting the turf, or the whole palm of your right hand is brushing the turf on the way down. Of course, this is an over-exaggerated feeling of the whole palm going downwards, but this is a good feeling to help you feel like you can maintain your lag as you come down and help those hands come in low. You'll notice here that my hands are going right above my knees here, and then I'm able to deliver the club face with a decent amount of shaft lean. All right, so let's go ahead and pair the two drills here. Hips being open, hands coming in low. So the things I want you to focus on is when you're coming in down to your downswing, yeah, you're feeling, remember, my left back pocket is crushing this wall behind me as my left hip is going higher, and then my hands are coming in lower. But now, as you approach the golf ball, remember, as this hip goes higher, these hands, I want you to feel like there's a string attached to the button of your club here to your left hip. So your left hip is pulling that button in the handle through impact, and as my hip rises, my hands also rise. You'll see that if my hands rise, I deliver a good amount of shaft lane. My angle of attack isn't too steep down on the golf ball. So the feeling I want you to have as you come into it, you're rotating open. This is coming and pulling with my left hip, but maybe to help you out, try to feel like your pinky finger and your ring finger are pulling up on the handle. Again, the reason why is that so you don't deliver the club face too steep down at impact. So now with left hip high at impact and open, and my hands are decently ahead of the golf ball, now you're ready to create some serious shaft lane. So with that being said, I want you to do at least 10 practice swings before you hit a golf ball without hitting it and getting the feeling of low hands and opening up. And then you can feel free to go and hit one with all these sticks here, opening up, and my hands coming in low, delivering the club face pretty square and with a ton of shaft lane. All right, so now that we got you getting more shaft lane at impact, I touched on it a little bit, but we need to learn how to release all that lag and that shaft lane that we just created. So that's what Clay is gonna talk about here, the straight line release. You're gonna wanna click on that iCard, but it's the full version of that video, helping you release everything after impact. All right, guys, so good luck working on it and have fun.
A common misconception I see is that we want to create lag and we just want to hold that lag all the way on through contact and get as much lag as we can coming through contact, and that's simply not true. In the release section, we're going to talk about how to turn that lag into energy, how to turn that into speed so that you can hit it very far and do it, like we mentioned, without hardly any effort at all. And as we're coming through contact, we're going to fully release this angle as we're about 45 past contact. So if I draw, a 45-degree angle, I should be looking at both arms, nice and straight, the club splitting those arms, so that by releasing the club, by getting this angle to release as we're coming through contact, that's what's going to create the speed. Our hands are moving a very short distance, our club is moving a very long distance through contact, and it creates that whip-like effect.
Very different swings, hitting the exact same position. So first let's take a look at Dustin Johnson, releasing the club 45 past. And the reason we're going to see such different swings producing similar positions is that this is the real physics of how this has to happen. Here we're looking at Sergio Garcia. Again, we're going to see tons